This is Biz Chicks TV. This is the place where you can find tips and tools to help you do business better. We're here to help you run a profitable business that's fun to run and to take the hassle out of your hustle. And today is Friday, so today we're talking tech in English. Woo! I'm here with my partner and friend. Oh, I'm here with my partner and friend all the way from Sacramento, California. I'm here with Francine Gregory, real estate entrepreneur, tech diva, and she's going to be guiding us through today because there's so much in tech today. I'm Terralina from California Cover Ups, and we're the Biz Chicks. We'll be joined by TJ all the way from New York City and by Dr. Chachi all the way from Florida. So stay tuned, buckle up. Let's get this conversation rolling. How you doing this morning, Francine?
I'm doing very well. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Biz Chicks.
I know. It's like time this morning. I don't know what's going on.
Tech Life Weekly. We talk about everything anything related to technology in your business, things that'll help you stay on the cutting edge. There's always something going on in tech. Tech runs the world. And I know there's Luddites who don't want that, but tech runs the world right now. So let's talk about some tech in history. And I'm going to make sure that I share this out to people. Okay, what happened here? Oh, there we are. Let me turn that down.
I'm going to check my website to see if we're on.
Okay, so
we're over there.
Yeah, everything. Yeah, it's working like it's supposed to. Sometimes tech doesn't work, but there are days when it does. So we just want to say welcome, and
the replay gang.
Right. Share it there and share it.
Give a shout out to the replay gang.
Yeah.
Say thank you for watching.
Yep. Everybody, thank you so much. This is what we do on Friday. We have a lot of fun. We talk about just about everything dealing with technology and how it helps you in your life. So once again, I'm going to this day in tech history. So June 21st, or this actually I'll do this week because there's a couple of stories.
Okay.
June 21st, 2004, Spaceship One, the first private space flight. We were thinking it could have been Virgin or Elon.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. It was financed by Microsoft co-founder Paul Allen. Spaceship One becomes the first spacecraft developed by the free market to enter space. It's from a mothership named White Knight. Spaceship One flew just beyond the atmosphere into the threshold of space, then glided back to Earth. Spaceship One would later win the $10 million Ansari 10 or X prize for the first non-government organization to launch a reusable manned spacecraft.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So back in 2004, this, we're thinking, okay, Elon Musk. So everybody's building on what
someone else's vision. Yeah.
Right. And Microsoft, it was financed by Microsoft co-founder Paul Allen. So Paul Allen put up the money for it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Investing in space in 2004.
Right.
We're doing something in 2019, 2020.
And we're thinking they just came up with this, but they did not. June 22nd, 1946, in a demonstration of the capabilities of jet aircraft, Army Air Corps pilots Kenneth Chilstrom and Robert Bayard transport mail in a Lockheed P-8 Shooting Star, thus making the first delivery of mail by jet aircraft. So it was Pony Express, horses, cars, buggies, and then in 1946, the first aircraft taken.
Airmail.
It's the first time that they put mail
And I can remember
by
older
a jet aircraft.
Yeah, I can remember like the envelopes from my dad during the Korean War. They were stamped airmail. It's actually stamped on there. Now we just take it for granted it's going by air. Yeah. There you go.
I was like, oh boy, little things that we did not know. Yeah. Let's see. The next story is the QWERTY typewriter was patented in June
What
23rd.
typewriter?
QWERTY, QWERTY.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
But it's the certain way the keys are put on the board. June 23rd, 1868. The Scholes and Glidden typewriter, the first practical and commercially successful typewriter, is patented. Perhaps most notable in the design of the Scholes and Glidden, which would later become a Remington #1 typewriter, is the use of the QWERTY keyboard, which is still the most popular keyboard layout in the world. I can remember having a Remington typewriter in class.
I don't want to tell you what typewriter I remember because the people across the street had one. It was definitely manual.
We started out on manual typewriters. I can remember Mrs.
Yeah, the old black ones, the big black ones with the keys and the tape. What do you call it?
Ribbon.
The ribbon that went to, and I can remember threading the ribbon and getting your hands all dirty. Remember that? Oh my gosh! And there was no such thing as whiteout.
It was like take the paper out and do it again.
Start over.
I had a teacher, Mrs. Carmody, and she was the typing teacher. I can still hear her in my head. Strike it, release it. Strike it, release it. Strike it, release it. And what is it? The quick brown fox jumped over the lazy black dog, and you had to type.
Yes, the typing test.
This was not acceptable.
Now, my question is, how is it that these young people know how to type? Is it because they started with the texting with the thumbs? And
the QWERTY type is still the layout.
Still the keyboard, yes.
The keyboard. So if you can figure out, if you know where the home keys are, you're going to be all, okay, there are people like us who know where the home keys are and I can type without looking. The kids, they use their thumbs.
And they just look at the keyboard. They just find it.
Right. And they may not even look. Sometimes they just.
Oh, well, if they're on their phone, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm talking about when they get on these laptops and iPads with keyboards,
Okay.
I'm going to watch the next time my grandson's on there because I know he's never had a typing lesson.
Well, here's the thing. You don't have to have a typing lesson now. If you're picking up. Okay, when your granddaughter picked up the iPad and started swiping and doing stuff, nobody taught her how to do that.
No, and she talks to it. She tells it what to type.
Okay, nobody taught her that.
Because she doesn't spell that well yet. She's going to the first grade, but she can send a text. I'm like, what is this?
But it is the technology is in such a way right now. It is almost effortless for people to do anything like TJ was talking about so many, I'm going to say a few years ago about we're not going to be touching nothing. We'll just be talking and stuff.
Yeah, voice command.
Yeah,
you see it with Alexa and the Google, and she's gonna go on. But you give voice commands, and I think it's Snapchat was doing something with the filters,
right?
Yeah, lenses. They were, you could hold the phone and say, "Make my hair pink," and make your hair pink. Remember, it's Snapchat. Right. So voice is going to be integrated in a lot of things, and you don't see the value of voice commands until you get one of the voice assistants, and then you're like, "What took me so long?" Because I was resistant to it. I was like, I don't need that.
but it is so much better.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to do something today, and I said, "Hey, S, can you schedule?" I wanted it to send contact information for this person over to that person.
Right.
And I was like, okay, I don't see why you can't do this.
Right. Because you can make calls with it. When you are in your contact list, you tell A to calls.
And if I'm telling,
and then if you
go ahead.
And you have more, if you have more than one device in your house, if someone's in another room, you could talk to that person without having to get up and go or yell, or because I'll say A, call the other device and tell my daughter something instead of me like yelling or hey, come here. Right.
Right.
Wow.
So this story was about the QWERTY typewriter was patented, and it was June 23rd, 1868. But it's still the keyboard that everybody uses right now.
And I use voice a lot on my phone. I don't want, because when you type, you get the wrong letters. If you type, I just turn on the voice part of it and dictate it, and then it turns it into
text. Too.
Yeah.
My only thing is I always have to double check because sometimes it auto corrects me.
Yeah.
After I correct it.
Right.
You corrected my correction. What? Stop it.
Yeah, and you can talk to it too. If there's training for, because I have an Apple product, but there's training for it. It tells you, how do you want me to pronounce this?
And Terralina, that problem, I agree with you. The autocorrect, that's going to get solved because Google already has in their search engine feature. I forgot what it's called, but they know the intent now. That when you're searching for something, they know the intent.
Yes, they keep working on.
Yeah, so Google is going to perfect that, and when you say something, the autocorrect won't jump in like you're saying, because it's going to learn that you say something a certain way, and it's not the one that's in the dictionary or whatever. You have a different intent, so Google's going to know that.
Right.
They already know it now, so it's going to get better. I mean, it sounds scary. But
there's some things that's happening. I'm gonna get through my little history lesson here. Then
okay.
About it. Okay, June 24th, 2010, 10 years ago, iPhone 4 goes on sale. After a wild lead up involving a prototype being lost at a bar, Apple's iPhone 4 officially went on sale. Later, the iPhone 4 would then become the subject of the AntennaGate controversy. With so much attention given to the phone, it was no wonder it went on to set sales records.
So, the fact that it was lost in a bar got some publicity.
The story, stories sell. There was a story, there was intrigue, there was mystery. And people wanted, anyway.
And there was a nemesis. Someone must have stolen the phone. Now,
be careful.
Yes. So it's interesting. My next story: Microsoft was incorporated June 25th, 1981. Founded 6 years earlier by Bill Gates and Paul Allen, Microsoft officially incorporated as a company. The timing of the incorporation was about 2 months ahead of the release of the IBM PC, which would soon change the fortune of Microsoft and the entire technology industry. Microsoft, it bears to be said here, Microsoft did a lot of software. They were not hardware people.
Right.
The software that ran on the IBM PC, which is the alternative, I guess, to Apple.
It's a PC.
Yeah, but PC means personal computer. So
right.
Apple is not known as a PC, even though it is a personal computer. It's not a. Anyway, there has been a distinction made. I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm.
But Microsoft is a software company. And we think of it, okay, are you running PC like it's Microsoft's fault for the software? And in fact, that's not the problem. It's Terry, TJ, you can jump in here anywhere, but it's software. It is not the hardware.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And TJ told us, and I've learned a lot listening to you, because there are so many different brands of computers. There's software that Microsoft makes, the software that goes on there, but there's so many different iterations of stuff. It gets all jumbled up, and then you want to know why the computer ain't working, and you're frustrated, work's not getting done.
Mm-hmm.
Too many
exactly.
In the kitchen.
I mean, because Microsoft, it was never hardware. I mean, they tried with the phone and this and that, but it never worked. And, you know, so you have the PC infrastructure, which was any manufacturer. So Windows had to write code that, you know, okay, it has to fit every kind of a Dell, a HP, a Acer, or this and that. Whereas we talk about Apple all the time because they have one architecture, one iOS. There's no, you know, many different brands making Apple. Apple makes Apple. So it's a singular kind of approach that works. That's why people love it. Now, the price, that's another thing. We're not talking price, but if you're looking at saying, okay, I need a Windows machine, then there's the printers have to have software that works with Windows, and it has to work with all of these manufacturers and then the different chip makers and then the different this and all of the parts that go into the computer. Microsoft had to cover all of that. So that's why Apple is a singular kind of approach to technology and computers versus Windows has to fit everything. And it doesn't, that, you know, that's not a good way to go because it has to, you have to have a part that fits for every kind of permutation or architecture that there is for a computer.
And therefore there's the opportunity for things to go awry.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm just going to, you know, this is a great segue into the Apple's Worldwide Developers Conference.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, this is good. It came across my screen. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, is that today? There was no, you know, big lead up or anything. I was just like,
right.
Oh, gosh, what? Oh.
Right, so, because they weren't doing an in-person event. So because of, you know, COVID. So,
but I was like, okay, how's this going to go? It was actually pretty good. Did anybody else watch?
I saw some of it.
Mm-hmm. I saw some of it.
Okay, so there are new tricks that's coming down the pipe. The one major thing that my takeaway was when they talked about that they're going to do their own silicon.
Their own chips.
Their own chips.
They're doing their own chips. They were no longer going to be using the Intel chip. They're going to use the chip that they got running the iPad.
Right. Because they're already using it.
Mm-hmm. Right. And I was like, whoa. So now I shouldn't be having this issue that I'm having with this iMac when you understand what I'm saying? They're still going to serve everything, but but they're going to do. I was like,
they should be switching out your processor.
No, I'm probably gonna have to buy a new machine.
But
okay.
Oh yes, of course.
But the fact is that they're bringing all their own stuff in house is a big difference.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of relying.
Well,
go ahead.
Dr. Well, it was coming. I think everybody. Good morning, by the way.
Good morning. How you doing, Dr. Pachi?
Yeah, you know, good. Busy as usual, but I'm glad to be here. So I think this was coming for a while. There have been problems with China just in general in terms of trade, etc., for a while. So I think that everybody who has a reliance on Chinese parts, and not just Chinese parts, but foreign parts in general.
Mhm.
They're trying to figure out how can they bring it back. The thing is, though, the expense of manufacturing things yourselves, because now rather than paying a fraction of the price, you now have to pay what U.S. workers would get.
Oh.
So I don't know how everybody is doing that or managing that, but I think because of the issues, when something goes wrong trade wise, the U.S. decides that China is no longer a viable trade partner, that affects you and what you're able to do if you have Chinese parts in your electronics or whatever. So I think or your car, exactly. So to avoid that type of, now we're slowed down, now we have a backup of pre-orders and stuff, and we can't get these things released, bring it in house. So I think in the long run that may end up being a good move for them.
Right. I just thought that was genius. And then there's some new tricks and stuff that this thing will do. It's, of course, every time they do a new release, it gets faster.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We are so not 256 megabytes anymore. We can click and move now. And the thing that is going to help is all of the devices will now be working together. So you can use apps on the desktop just like you have on the iPad or on the phone.
Yes.
You use the apps.
Internet.
And I said, "Oh my gosh, this just seems." I think
that's what we were saying earlier before the story we were talking about, where Apple has one architecture, one system, it's like the Borg. If you watch those Star Trek in there, it's one thing. It's uniform. It works as one, and it's easier for developers. It's easier for the engineers because they are all working with the same set of blueprints. And we got to know what HP does with their computer, or we got to know what Dell, Acer, all of the Windows brand PCs. They all have their own little architecture stuff for their hardware. So with Apple, it's all in-house. It's one thing. And Apple always did that. When they built their headquarters in Cupertino, Steve Jobs they have specially made glass that they prototyped and they own the patent on. It's curved glass, that he wanted curved glass because the building is round. And they couldn't get it made to the specifications that he wanted, so he made it. So he was like, okay, I'll get my designers to make the glass that I want. So they do that. They make their stuff where it's their thing. It's Apple's thing.
Right.
And they've got the money, they're flush with cash. So things are looking good for them now.
I said, so they can make it happen.
Oh, yeah. So it's exciting. We'll see. Mm-hmm.
Right. And so I enjoyed the entire presentation.
Yeah, the presentation, yeah.
It was really, really insightful. I was like, oh, we're doing that now. I feel like it's gonna, the products are getting better. They are still gonna service the ones that are running the Intel software. They for years to come.
Right.
I don't know what that length of time is, but there was an S on the end of that years. So
years.
All I have to say is they damn well better. My MacBook Pro is only 2 years old. You better find a way to keep servicing them. That's all I have to say.
And then it will work. The new things are going to be able to work on our current stuff.
Yeah.
But that was like, okay, but like TJ said, because it's yours and you know what you put in the mix in the first place, you know how to make it mix.
Make it compatible,
Right.
Yeah.
Correct.
You wrote the recipe, so
I know what I put.
You own it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So
you know when there's too much butter in it.
Yeah.
And it makes it so. What were you all's takeaway from some of the things that you heard? That was one of the things that I thought was really good.
Yeah,
I mean,
go ahead.
It's Apple. I mean, what can we say? I know there's the part where, okay, Apple's products and things are on the high end, of course, but there's always alternatives. So we always talk about Apple here because of the one architecture. It's a one world system where the iPhone works with the iPad, works with the Mac Pro, works with the iMac, works with, all of them work together. So you can do something on one and kind of hand off to the other. So that's the benefit of being in this ecosystem, Apple ecosystem. But when you go outside of that, it's like, I remember having this when we did IT support, and it was just Windows based, and it was like so much information that I had to retain to fix a user's problem. And when I switched over to Apple, I was like, oh, all of that stuff, it went out my head. So I'm like, I don't even know how to, do the 10 steps for Windows things when it was 1 or 2 in Apple. So that was like something that is a part of the one world architecture thing of Apple. So
and they're bringing in other people into their world. They are partnering with Adobe, where before there was a little bit, there was a little tension there.
Right.
Partnered with Microsoft.
Yeah, so I was going to say they partnered with Microsoft. So I'm waiting to see what that's going to be about.
Well, they're partnering before because they're building. They put the apps. They already have apps. Microsoft already has apps going to be installed on the Apple products. It's going to be there. I was like, oh, okay, this is different. This is way different because they didn't play together very well.
No, in the beginning it was rivalry. So
they're competitors, to be honest. So
yes, but then now what I'm seeing is the competitors. They're like, maybe we better get on this team and ride this wave.
Well, yeah, because it's like the skateboarder that catches a ride on the city bus. Like, why expend my energy when I can grab onto that thing that's going and ride the coattail a little bit,
And I think it's a smart move because now all the people who work with, I've since learned how to use Apple's products, but for the people who still are Microsoft Word minded with Excel and all of that, they can still do that, but in an environment that does not frustrate you where you feel like blowing up something.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Not till we get upset or anything. Okay.
Yeah.
When you are working on a project and you're trying to, you're writing and you're doing something, and then you get something, you get pop-ups, or you get
something disappears. That was always the frustration when I had to help users. Was like I was typing something and it didn't save, and how do I get it back? And how do I do this? And so all those little things I had to remember in my head. I mean, we had a knowledge database for IT, but I mean, I kept things in my head. It was like, okay, I know when this happens to do X, Y, Z. And it was because Windows architecture.
Well, I remember back in the day, Apple, I remember I had always been an Apple user, to be honest. When I learned, like in grade school, when computers first became a thing, it was Apples that we had, the Macintosh. So then they had that solid state one piece little design with the black and white screen. And so they were really the first, quote, Windows, right? That whole Mosaic thing. So I'd always used Apple, but one thing was, they've gotten so much better over the years. I just remember the Apple crashes. If you did not save your work every 5 seconds, when it crashed, you lost everything. There was no backup, and it's like, damn, in Florida Evans' voice. So... And then the same thing happened, not that long ago when I started doing linear editing for video, or non-linear editing, I should say, for video, and we were using computers. Final Cut and all that would crash, and if you didn't save, you lost all of your work. Now that really hurts. So it's gotten so much stronger and so much more stable.
Right. This is the thing. Everything is going to continue. Well, there are certain companies that are going to continue to get better and better and better. You can tell who those companies are. people with
Yeah.
a disposable phone. Why would you travel down that road? But there are companies who have invested in doing better and keeping their customers going.
Yes, you have to.
Because people to use the products. I was like, okay.
Correct. And come back to the products. That's the thing. Once you develop a relationship, it becomes a habit. And then you always go to that brand for whatever it is you do. Even if it's not something you normally use, you're like, well, let me see if XYZ has this, because I already trust it for something else. So you get that halo effect. Because they're good in one thing, you automatically assume that they're good in something else. So even if they're not, you just want to because you're used to the brand. So it is really good business to make sure that your products run, that they run well, that if there is a problem, that you address it immediately and don't drag people along. Because frankly, there are other choices. Although in Apple's case, not so much. But, and I guess that's a preference thing. But when it comes to certain things, especially as a creative, no, there really is not another choice. But, piss creatives off enough and we'll find an alternative. So
Right. And I like the fact that they will, you can put in a call or whatever, get the Apple Care. If you are having Apple products, get the Apple Care. It's going to tell you that.
Or you could go to the store and raise hell like I've done.
I have had my phone, it was on the top of the car. I'm driving down the road, and Jeanette, she's here. I was in Yuba City coming back from a project I was working in Yuba City. I remember turning the corner and I heard something go, and I was like, what was that? And I noticed my phone wasn't where
it was. Yeah. Wow.
I was like, oh no. And I said,
yes,
my phone. And I couldn't, I looked, where I thought it might be, and I couldn't see it. So I got my iPad out and I typed in find my phone.
It
showed me where my phone was on the road. So I drove back to where I saw the little thing flashing all over the place. I'm like, I do not see my phone. And I walk over and there's this mangled up
mess
pieces. That was my phone. I was like, oh, okay.
But apparently it was still emitting some signal because it allowed you to find it. Wow.
Right. And so I scooped it up, put it in an envelope, and I'm thinking I'm on my way back to Sacramento. I'm like, God, I gotta spend another $600-700 for a phone and da. And then I remember, wait, I have Apple Care.
Apple Care. Yeah.
I got to the store and I showed them my bag because they want to do something to know that it's your phone or whatever.
Right. Diagnostics.
I can get something off of this. You're doing well. They saw it and they said, oh, we'll just replace it. It'll only be $100. I was like,
wow.
Yay.
Yay for the $100 deductible. Yay.
Wow. Yes. Thank you. And I walked out.
And Apple Care. Thanks, Apple Care.
Thanks, Apple Care. It sounds like a commercial. Thanks,
Apple Care.
I was able to put all my phone numbers and everything back on. Why? Because it was in the cloud. I was like,
cloud. Yeah. Yes. All you do is just restore it. That's it. Love it.
I have something from the Apple, the WWDC that I thought was interesting. This is probably very interesting to you too, as well, Francine, because of the fact that you're in real estate. And so I always pay, because I work with a lot of realtors, I'm always paying attention to what's happening. So especially with home. So they've done some things to their HomeKit, right? And one of the things is the adaptive lighting. That's something that I'm always hearing about with the smart homes and everything.
Yeah.
So you can now automatically adjust the brightness, the temperature, and of your connected smart bulbs throughout the day. And so you can have cooler lights during the hours that you're working and warmer temperatures and when it's time to wind down. So you can, there's this whole almost biometrics thing going on.
Yeah.
Right.
I thought that was interesting.
The Home app also had, they are now working with everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, before it was like, okay, I want to get the lock for my door, but there was only certain companies that would work with the home kit.
Mhm.
Not everybody worked with the home kit. So I was like, okay, but I want that, and I want the other lights, and I want the plugs, but not everybody worked, like the Nest and other thermostats and stuff like that. Not everybody worked together. Now they are working together. They opened up the what is it called?
API.
Yeah, they opened up something where now it's across everything: Google, Amazon, and Apple. I was like, what? Whoa. All three of them names was on the screen at the same time. I was like, wait. So they are learning how to collaborate better in order to provide better for their customers. Because before you used to have to, you would have to choose between Amazon, Apple, or Google in order to use the light kits and the Nest and the whatever. And I was like,
Mhm.
Wow. Yeah. Oh, Christy has a question in the chat. Hi, Christy. Asking if the Apple store is open in the mall, and it depends on where you are, because in Sacramento. Yes, you are in Sacramento?
It is open, but I would call first because you might need an appointment.
Right, exactly. And I know they were open, in a limited way here in Fort Lauderdale and other stores across South Florida. But probably these idiots that live here are going to mess that up, because we now probably have the highest, I think, rates of infections for COVID-19 because people don't want to do what the hell they're supposed to do. Good. Now you have no Apple store. That's what you get.
I think I read this week that Apple had stores open, but they closed some. So like Taji said, it depends on where you are. They were open and then they closed some of them. So it depends.
You have to call, because they do curbside.
Yes.
If you're buying something, they will walk it out to the parking lot. You're not coming up.
You can't come in. Nope.
Nope. So that you can play and touch everything. Not today.
Nope. All of that stuff is limited. You don't get to go and touch and experiment and whatever. And I've seen it in Target. I've seen it in some Walmart stores and stuff where they pulled the demo stuff where you used to touch.
Yes.
Right now.
You can't do that anymore.
And it's interesting because the stores that are very dependent upon a tactile experience, like the Apple store, that is going to be interesting to see how they deal with that. Now, Apple has already built a reputation that people are willing to buy things sight unseen without playing with it for the most part. But stores that don't have that type of reputation, that are very dependent upon the tactile experience, they're going to have to think and pivot and see how they're going to give their customers or potential customers the same experience without it being so tactile. And this is just a thought. It's not necessarily tech, but in Washington, D.C., there is a fellow Howard alum who has a store called the Spice Suite. And she's doing phenomenally well because Beyonce just put the Spice Suite on her website.
She had a list of Black businesses to visit and to shop with.
Yes, and the Spice Suite was one of them. So consequently, the Spice Suite is not just a spice shop. It is also a pop-up shop where they have the quote Spice Girls and Spice Guys, where they allow Black businesses to do pop-up shops. In exchange, she doesn't charge them. In exchange, they help to man the store or woman the store. So it's an exchange type thing where you get to sell your products, and you're also selling the spices. So you set up a day that you're there, and it works. It's like a cooperative, which is really cool.
That's a great idea.
It's an excellent idea. You see what Howard University does. Anyway, that's the thing is that she was really, I watched a couple of interviews, and she's thinking about how she's going to replace that tactile experience, because the thing about the Spice Suite is people notice the smell, first of all the spices and all the experiences, and to pick up things and to try things. And she's now doing curbside. She's open a couple of days a week doing curbside, and the lines are like down the block, but they don't get that same experience. So businesses are going to have to figure out, those that are tactile related, how to incorporate other things so that people don't miss the experience of touch.
Right. So yeah,
that's a great story. Oh, that's a great story. I love that.
Yeah, I think sometimes when we mouse over things over here, I've taken myself out inadvertently also. So.
I have to watch what I'm touching.
Right.
You know,
like
that, you know what, that's the thing about because love StreamYard, but everything is so close together in that square that one false move and you've removed everybody from the stream. So yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know what I touched, but I was like, oops. Okay. So Brenna says no demos and or cosmetic samples.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that you would have to come up with making like a sample kit that you could, you know, if they're doing curbside and say, oh, you're considering this, here's the sample kit, and have it some kind of sanitized way where it's a disposable little kit of samples or whatever it is.
So I'm gonna ask this question for people who do their own cosmetic stuff, you know, whipping up your own whatever it is, like your facial soaps and whatever, and you're not using a lab.
Right.
Does that work now?
So you mean in terms of how does what work specifically?
The whole, how are you doing your business?
How are you marketing?
No, not marketing.
She said creating the product.
How are you gonna do and protect your customers? I guess I should put that on.
A safety. You have to have a safety.
Safety
Now.
Well, okay.
There are people who make lip balm. There are people who do facial stuff, and this stuff started in a lab.
Well, okay, so that's us. You know, my family, we have a body products line and soap and stuff. And so the thing is, we've always done things very carefully anyway, because there are guidelines that you have to follow anyway when you're selling things to the public to ensure their safety. So, you know, maybe you're a little more, but I mean, to be honest, you're spraying everything down all the time. You're wearing gloves before you do. You're wearing a mask. Like we always wear masks when we're doing things. Masks, gloves. You're always super careful and super sanitary anywhere. You should be. So
the ones the people that care, the businesses that care,
right?
Doing what Tati
we're
said.
already practicing sanitation.
We were already doing that. So, you know, it's not that much of a switch to make sure X, Y, and Z, you know, and then limiting the amount of people that have contact with everything. There's just 3 of us that are ever, and then really when it comes to making the cosmetics and stuff, it's really my mother and my sister. So just 2 people, like the lip balm and the soap. So 2 people are ever only whatever with it.
And see, what you do with that, what Dr. Tati just said is exactly what you do. You show that you're wearing a mask. You show that you're clean. You show the process.
Right, because there are people, they want you just to trust it. And I'm like, okay. So I'm driving down the road, right? And there's the guy doing, we got brisket today on the side of the road. Now, one day, maybe back in December, I would have stopped by and got some brisket. I'm not doing that. I don't know you.
I don't know if you've been around. I don't know if you've been practicing social distancing.
And it's the truck, okay, because it's not even a food truck. It's just dude with his barbecue grill on the back of his truck.
No.
See,
not me.
So
everybody's rethinking it. You're rethinking it because here, when you want to sell food on the street here, you have to have a license from the city. You have to go through the process and have the food cart, blah blah blah. So seeing somebody like that, I'm going to be like, no.
See and this is what we're saying, so that you can prepare your customers need to see proof of the fact that
proof of. You have a safety policy. You do what Dr. Tati was saying about and it's real easy. You do a little 15, 30-second video of you're cleaning, you're wearing a mask, you're wearing the gloves, and saying all the stuff that she said. And you put that up and you make a safety policy page.
Right.
And share it out.
I was in Jamba Juice, went to Jamba Juice, and in the midst of this, and because they had to come in and pick up and go, you couldn't come in and sit down or whatever. So
Right.
they had their policy posted. We are doing A, B, C, D, E, F, G. They had little stickers on the floor, round stickers saying "Stand here" and do that. And so they were demonstrating. Okay, I can trust y'all.
Yeah. By the things you do as a business,
Right.
That's how you get trust. The things you do. So you need to be extra careful, or not extra careful, but you need to be extra mindful that people are concerned. That's the number one concern now, not whether you're open or this or that, but how are you cleaning the surfaces? How are you packaging? So you alleviate that by having a safety policy, and you do a little video or you write everything step by step. We do this every night. At the end, when we close, we clean everything every night. And then when we open, we do. So you want to spell everything out clearly and make sure they see it. Like she was saying, like Fran was saying about going into the Jamba Juice, it's there. You don't have to ask. Hey, I know you're concerned. It's already here. That's how you alleviate the fear.
And, depending on what kind of business it is, especially like you said, the cosmetics, the things that you use on your skin, or the things that you're going to ingest that are like Jamba Juice is basically smoothies. They have other stuff, but the main thing is smoothies. That's cold stuff, so it's not cooked. So you don't even have the insurance that even if something does get in there, it's not going to get killed by cooking. So you have to show this is what we're doing. Look, we know we're serving you raw fruits. This is what we have to do.
We do.
This is what we do to ensure your safety, ladies and gentlemen.
Right. And before you didn't have to, well, you did it, but it wasn't overtly. It wasn't
something. Right. It wasn't something that customers and consumers are looking for. Because right now, that's what they're looking for. What are you doing? So don't wait for them to ask you. Say, here, this is our safety policy. This is what we're doing in the time of pandemic. And like Fran said, they list everything. And we didn't have to do that before, but we're in a different world now. So,
okay, well, we got some comments coming in over here, people.
All right.
I have Mr. Mark Ward.
Comedian.
I can protect my customers by them giving me money. In exchange, I don't give them a product, 100% safe and COVID free.
That works.
And on our last topic, we were talking about Apple. She said you can sign up for Apple Care before the warranty expiration.
Just in case.
Right.
She's talking to Christy.
Right. About Apple, the stores. Yeah.
Right. And then Jill from Breathing Space says, I'm seeing businesses post customer testimonials, both written and short videos regarding a safe experience at the business. Perfect.
Yeah. Yes.
And you use it for reputation management also.
That's the word I was looking for. Thank you, Jay. Reputation management. We talked about that with Cuda Brand how many years ago?
Yeah. Yeah.
Ooh, did not know we were going to be walking in and needing it right now.
It's all a part of building trust for your brand.
Right.
Yes.
I have a question. Since we're on the trajectory of building trust, TJ, I really want to know, in New York, they are sticklers about restaurants and that grading system. Yeah. I myself don't eat anything below an A.
Me either.
Me
either. I gotta see that A.
Why would we do below an A? I'm like,
because some people have the B and the C, and it's big, like the scarlet letter in your window. Letting everybody know you have failed in one or more areas.
Exactly.
So I'm really interested during this whole time. How are they handling inspections? How is that affecting
that's
the letter
thing.
grades?
It wasn't open for so many days, and now that they're opening up, they can't. No customer can go into a bar or a restaurant. They're doing. Some restaurants are doing sidewalk seating of so many seats.
Right.
Can't go in.
Two people going New York City sidewalk.
Right. So. And also, there was on the news last week, the governor was mad because downtown bars and, the millennials are going to the bars, getting the drinks because they can't go in and milling around on the sidewalk. no mask, some of them
Without
no
mask.
mask, talking to each other face to face, and he was like, "I will shut it down if you guys don't fix that."
That's right.
But the bar is saying, what can they do? Like, they can't force the mask, but they should wear it. So I don't know. It's just been, I think they tried to clean it up.
You don't have to, just like you don't serve people when they reach the limit on their alcohol consumption, you don't get served unless you put on a mask.
But see,
they got
you need to do like on.
It's when they take it out, Francis.
Yes, when they go up to the,
like,
you know, they
can't fries on the street
on the street.
Your mask, and everybody's talking to each other eating fries. You know what I mean?
Right.
But but there would you're gonna have to correct.
So they turned it into a party anyway.
Listen, it's a problem. The mayor, De Blasio, has talked about it. Cuomo has talked about it. I think they've done something since that. I think that was like last week. And then the thing is, the weather is nice and warm, so people want to be outside anyway because we're used to that. We're used to being outside.
Are you used to being sick? I'm just tired. Not you, them. I'm just tired of the selfishness because you want to do what you used to do before. You're like, oh, well, I don't care. All right, well, then let them shut the whole thing down. I'm tired of people being selfish.
That's a part of it. Yeah, that's a part of it. I want to do what I did before. I'm tired of being inside. I don't want to wear the mask. I got to wear the mask to go in the store, but to eat, I got to take. So that's what I was saying about the restaurants having the little table setting aside. When I saw the news, it was like, no one's wearing a mask at the table outside.
Well, because you're going to be like this.
Yeah, that's the truth.
It doesn't work.
So that's why I'm like, I'm not even going to sit at the tables.
Nope.
But the social distancing, because here they've opened up restaurants, but they're at every other booth. You can't go to this booth and then there's not going to be anybody at this booth. Then the next one. And they've put people, and you are not getting that many people back in the restaurant either.
Right. And now see the barbershops, I saw on the news, the barbershops here are getting the clear shower curtains and hanging them between the chairs, and they're just doing a lot of stuff. And there are people that are adhering to the mask and some that aren't. But there's certain places you go where you can't go in the grocery store without a mask. So that's a thing.
Here in California, the governor said everybody will wear a mask. When you're going into a public place where you are going into stores or whatever, you will wear a mask.
You know what though? I don't blame them. You have to blame society.
Yes.
For all of this, because the US is a very individualistic society for the most part as a whole. We've been taught me and mine is who is important and matters. So hence, because I don't want to wear a mask, I will not. And I will challenge you to find me or whatever, and I'll march for it and all of that. That doesn't happen in places where the good of the community is valued above the good of the individual. That's the problem. So it's there are good things about collective societies and bad things. Same thing with individualistic societies. But now when you look at it, when it comes to a crisis, for the most part, we pull together. But look, we only pull together for a certain amount of time. Our time pulling together is very limited.
Now they're tired. Now they're tired of it.
Now they're tired. It's only usually for a news cycle that we pull together, and then we're done. We're back to our selfish, individualistic ways.
That's how we do. That's how they do here in America. It's like, okay, I'm done with it. I'm tired of COVID.
But that's why we're having a problem.
Yes, that's why everything is going up. They're saying that the current level of cases and everything is due to the opening up on Memorial Day and since then, and
the 4th of July is around the corner.
Right. So there's a 3-week lag between whatever they open up and the cases. They're saying about 3 weeks you will see the results. So as places open up, you got to give it 3 weeks, and then you'll start to see if it goes up or down. And it's going up most places. And of course, there are saying stop. There are people I'm not going to name that are saying stop testing. There are people running states that are saying we're not going to report the numbers because, if people get a test, the numbers go up. What?
Okay, you heard it here. Okay, so we just have.
I can't.
We can't do all of that, but we have to do we are okay. The governors are not out to get you. They're just telling you this because here in California, we have a very thriving. We feed the entire world.
You do,
and
yes.
They want people to hurry up and get back and let's get it all going. I'm like, hold on, everybody need to take a chill pill and sit down somewhere. We don't need you back spreading stuff.
Well, let me just say, and not to get into a whole politics or government thing, many people are into small government. So the fact that the government is telling you, put on a map, you can't tell me what to do. Because there's this whole thing of small government not telling you what to do. Even in times of crisis, I, the individual, should decide how I handle the crisis, regardless if it affects somebody else.
Now let me say this about government. Having worked for the government, nobody wants the government until they need them. I know on the news, because I watched the British news, they were saying in some Saudi Arabian country somewhere, 40% of the pilots are freaking unlicensed, okay?
Ooh.
40%. Okay. You want some government regulation, people. Because when you start down this road with these people who want to drown government in the teacup, you have no idea how many protections you have because of the government. Ask Flint, Michigan, when they turned it over to the locals.
Indeed.
Yeah, and the government no longer
what would have cost $100,000 for some chemicals turned into a fiasco.
Exactly.
Almost wiped out a generation of people. Come on, folks, now.
So there's some comments over here. So Brenna is saying, before all this, I was operating with the knowledge of the 16 superbugs. I got a backstory. Brenna is a scientist. A mom of 3 in a community near had to have her legs and arms amputated because they picked up something from the community.
Wow.
I was already doing what I do now for this, minus the mask. In the store, we don't know how many people touch the items before we put it in our cart.
Right.
And going back to what TJ said about showing what you do, the store here, I'm going to name the name, Sprouts, they have a guy, all his job is the cart comes back, he's wiping it.
Sanitizing,
here. And there's a sign that says, these are sanitized.
Yeah.
That's his job.
That's what you have to do. That's what you have to do.
Wipe them down and move them over there.
And you can't say that you do it. You got to show it. Just like you see this person doing it. Like they got one employee that's their job.
And they probably take turns, because it's out in the
heat. But there's someone doing it, and the customers see it. You don't have to explain it because it makes. Oh, I see you cleaning. It makes me feel better. Okay.
How are we gonna go back to school? I hear these people talk about opening up elementary schools, high schools, colleges.
Listen, it's too early. It's too early for that conversation.
Well, I'm telling you, the conversation is on and cracking.
Well, they're not opening the doors because I know here in California they did not release everybody to go back to school.
UC Davis, they're going back to school,
but
New York City.
Back to online because
a lot of the classes are going online, but they're still having classes like those things where you have to touch stuff like laboratories and and then they're reducing the class sizes so allegedly people can social distance. They're just trying a bunch of stuff. I'm just saying, who am I? But I just think it's too soon.
It is too soon.
And students are not going to distance themselves because they did this.
Mark said, I like to go to restaurants in Chicago the day after they reopen after being closed down by the Department of Health. It's the only time I feel secure of the safety. And because after they cleaned up everything, we're good. But And Robin says, too bad we can't do no mask, no service.
And some businesses are doing that.
Some places are doing that. Yeah. So see, the problem with the mask thing is that some states are doing this, some cities are doing things different from the state. Some are saying masks are required, and some are saying masks are kind of required if you can't social distance. It's all a morass of different rules, and nobody knows. We need one thing to follow: mask. Wear your mask. There's no other alternative. But people are going, well, I don't want to wear a mask. It's just messed up. We need one thing, one direction, and we're not doing that. Wear the mask. In the story.
It's okay. And you can be fashionable when you do it. It can match your outfit.
Oh, yes.
It can, you ain't got no excuse. Just
saying.
You know, Terry makes a mask. Other people, we don't make masks. I'm like, look,
yeah,
put it in your body. Sure, it's a part of your repertoire.
Christy had a question. I know it's a little off about light bulbs.
Lighting.
Yeah, the lights that she bought, the bulbs, the light bulbs that I thought are colored as advertised on Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
I plan to use recording. The light bulbs are white when I turn them on. How does it work to get colored? Dr. Tachi, I'm gonna let you have this one.
You know as much as I do. What brand? Well, what kind of bulbs are they? Are they LED bulbs? Are they regular? Are they tungsten? Are they like incandescent, regular incandescent? Because I'm trying to think, and I don't know these bulbs. I know there are, for example, LED lights that do this where you can change the color temperature. So they will have a white hue or a golden hue depending on what the color temperature is. But I'm not familiar with the bulbs you're talking about. I'd have to do some research to see. And you know what? You probably can find them on our friend YouTube University. If you type that in, somebody knows if they
something about it.
Somebody, right. Mm-hmm.
Because I know the Philips bulbs where you can change the colors of the room, whatever, but it you know, like to the blue and the da-da-da-da-da-da, but you have to have that whole system.
Right. It's usually not the bulb itself. A bulb itself can be colored, but they generally don't have, it's a whole system usually, like you said, or a special light. And that usually involves more than one bulb for the coloring in that case. So yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, that is a YouTube question. Mark said, build that wall between me and the next table.
That's right. Well, how about I'm eating at home?
Well, Robin has I
need to go back.
That's over here.
Brenna, let's see, let me make sure. Okay, the bulbs. Okay, we're back at Brenna. Mr. Barr states he sees governors operating with absolute power, denying people their livelihood. Poor POTUS is operating with limited power. That's why he released those people that were charged recently. Okay. And
about Flynn. Yeah, I hear you, Brenna.
Brenna said to answering Christy, they're not colored. The instruction sheet should be in the box and you can return them. Mark, you are not allowed to take a gun and shoot your neighbor. You cannot drink and drive, no matter how large or small the government. So you have no right to not wear a mask and put your neighbor's life at risk. Have a seat, you self-centered, selfish, me-centric stains on our country.
All righty then.
I concur.
How you feel, Mark?
And this is pretty true anyway. Okay, remember when smoking was a thing? And it was prevalent everywhere I went, because California, a while back, we were like, you're not smoking in public. So we were used to that. I went to Oklahoma, I was like, what is this? There was smoke everywhere. And there was a non-smoking section. Like, the smoke is just going to stop at the sign.
That's a joke. And that's the same thing as remember, smoking and non-smoking section on an airplane. That's absolute rubbish. It floats and it recycles throughout the system. So, again, it's selfishness. I do understand that many people who smoke, and nicotine is addictive, and so you're addicted to it. But what you won't do is endanger my health because you want to continue to I'm so glad when I worked at the university, my former university, they had, this is when they were really starting to ban it in different places. So you couldn't even smoke on campus. So people who wanted to smoke, you had to physically get in your car and get off campus to smoke, which ended up being a lot because you have to walk to your car. It's too much. So it was a deterrent for sure.
Right. And so, yeah, that is the whole thing. I'm like, this is similar. You can't smoke here. You need to wear a mask here. Okay. Don't come in. I know it's hot or whatever under there, but you need to wear a mask. Mm-hmm. Get one that has a little filter thing, whatever you need to do to be comfortable, but you need to wear your mask.
And it's down here in the car. You're just pulling it up to go in the store. Come on, people, give us a break. Here we go now. Robin is just frustrated. She's
just an inconvenience for Pete's sake. They've made it a political statement. It's a public health situation and needs coordinated leadership from the public health officials. Yes.
Here. Mm-hmm. Okay. Indeed.
Let's see. Our country. Let me get Gabrielle.
I'm sorry, Gabby.
To school August 19th. Florida is out of control. I think schools stay online indefinitely. Even 50% school openings will push the numbers even higher.
Yes, I agree. Gabby. And I'm serious. I have 4 grandchildren that are going to be exposed. And I'm just like, really?
Well, see, they don't have to be. Who said that we just had to capitulate and just send them back to school? You can stay home. Homeschool is.
You see, now this is a whole chain of stuff. Now who's going to stay home because you're being called back to work? See, homeschool worked because most people were working from home.
Well, what I'm saying is, but if my child and it was a threat, there would be a situation where I'm going to work something out because y'all staying home.
You know what though? And I feel that, but that's really easy when you can do that. There are people that are hourly and wage workers that if they don't go back to work, they simply will not eat. So there's that catch-22 there. If you have the luxury of doing that, that's one thing. But there's some people, it's like, okay, if I stay home, I'm not going to get paid. So I have to do something or go to work. And I don't have the money to get somebody to watch my children. So it's a catch-22.
And now we're going to be thinking outside the box. Business owners, here's your opportunity.
Yeah.
Because there's some opportunities here. So people need to go back to work. Some people don't need to be teaching their kids at school.
Amen.
Okay, so because it's not a good fit. We'll go to work.
Yes, they're not equipped.
But we got Brenda so-and-so who loves working with kids. Let her homeschool the people. You understand what I'm saying? Okay, you're over in this room, you're in this room.
So what you're saying is run it like a co-op.
Do something for the mom that is staying home. Maybe she comes in and helps. There's a solution somewhere that we don't have to bring all of the kids as a flood, put them all back together.
And I don't think they're going to do that. I just think that the fact that they're going to do it on any level at this point, even at 50%, puts the teacher at risk. Now, I don't even want to go down this rabbit hole. Okay. So here we go. We got some comments over here.
Okay. So
it's just a lot.
Okay. Yes, Florida is ridiculous.
Because I have another rabbit hole.
You love rabbit holes.
March, we are entering into phase 4 here in Chicago. We are one of the only states that have actually followed CDC guidelines. Personally, I'm in phase 1 and will not be joining in.
I am too, Mark. I'm in phase 1. And phase 1 is getting really intense, but I'm still doing my best to try to stay in phase 1. And then Gabby wants to know, how will they protect the teachers? I think it's going to vary from state to state, school district. And see, the problem is now California claims we ain't got no money because of all of this anyway.
But it doesn't. Okay, people do stuff with no money. They keep doing stuff. They making money in the back.
Printing money, girl.
My thing is this. I'm very interested because these are the same school systems that make teachers buy their own tissue, supplies, all these other things, because supposedly there's no money to even educate these damn children. So now you want that. Don't go back. It is too now you can't afford to have children there when there's no crisis, let alone when there's a crisis.
And they didn't prepare because they should have been doing online classrooms a long time ago.
Look, as soon as there were Moodles, any of these user rooms, any of these things, they should have been doing that. And this goes for universities too, because I had always taught online almost since the beginning of my, I started teaching at universities in 2001. In 2005 is when I started doing online. Before that, I was educated. Part of what I had to do in my graduate program, we had to take a course called Teaching in the Online Environment. And this was in 2003. Okay, when stuff was not really fully, people were doing courses and things online. This was at the very beginning of that age. So I had always known that this was something that I had to do.
But there is so much to this there's so many moving parts to this. That's why they're having trouble solving it. I mean, there are teachers.
But see, if you made that
who are close
a priority,
who refuse to learn how to do it,
well, then they get out. Then retire. Look, I'm tired.
I agree.
We are tired of that. Get out.
I agree.
If you don't want to learn and level up so that your students can learn, time for you to go.
And need to be trained.
Okay, so
they may be used to being online, but being online and teaching is a whole different thing.
Right.
So but training is needed. And then the whole thing of, does the kid have the equipment? And do they have a signal?
Okay, here's the thing.
The signal is good in your house, but next door it might not be good.
Okay, but see, a few years ago, Comcast has made it, and even now, they are making a commitment to Wi-Fi. AT&T, all of the internet providers have made the commitment to provide internet. AT&T has a program. If you're low income and you're using it for school, they have something for you. So does Xfinity, so does Verizon, so all of these people have something. Nobody's just not saying nothing about it, but they got it.
You know what though? They do, and I know Verizon for a fact has this whole program that I was wanting to be involved with in terms of that, but I don't think they were prepared for the magnitude of need now. They were just thinking about one or two pilot schools or having a few. Yeah, they weren't thinking about masses or everybody. I think that's the issue.
And we have always complained about the digital divide. Have we not? This is not new. The digital divide is not new.
And but here's the thing with where we are right now, there's an opportunity to do something about it. Google has offered their Chromebooks. So there's a situation that's handled because Chromebook, you don't have to worry about software and stuff. They have Google Classroom. Okay, so there people are putting things in there now. I don't know the powers that be in the states that don't want to do all of that. The parents are going to need to have to step up and do something for their kids.
You're right.
You're trying to do it the government's way. The government don't want to do it. Then you're going to have.
And I agree.
Of your kids.
And they are doing what they can do. They've even dispensed Wi-Fi buses around the city so that people can get online.
Claudia says California has money under the mattress. Probably so.
Wow.
And Curtis said, really, where do we sign up? See, there's stuff out there and they just don't broadcast it. They're just not telling you. We got all that available.
Now, Gabby had comment up here about our country still. You see that?
Made changes in security after the Stoneman Douglas shooting, trusting them to make the necessary provisions to protect students and teachers is a joke. And I keep saying this. Some stuff is individual. A lot of times we try and fix stuff with a big group.
In general, with a big Band-Aid.
With a big group of people, because I was riding with some guy in Uber, and he was like, I'm here and I wanted to get our people to do such and such. I'm like, okay, dude, you can't do all the people at one time. That's going to be a problem. Yep. You need to get to the individual, change this individual's life first.
Yep.
Then work on the next one, and then work on the next one. Because if you try and take all of them on at one time, it's not going to happen. That's going to be a slow move.
Oh my gosh.
Because it's individual, because you're dealing with the mindset of individuals.
Mm-hmm.
Even people in the same group who want the same things, they all have different mindset about the way to do it. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Now you gotta try and help. Okay, well, I don't see it that way. So now there's a standstill.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, let me ask this. Miss TJ, you look like you had a story for us today and you didn't get to it.
Go for it.
No, it's just I have to go in like a few minutes. So
okay. Do you have something you wanted to share before you got out of here? Like TikTok for business?
Yeah. Well,
TikTok did some stuff.
Yeah, they got some things going on, but there's some breaking news today about TikTok, and it has I was going to tie in when we were talking about the WWDC and all the updates for the iOS and everything. Yes. So TikTok was discovered and it's not just TikTok, it's other apps because of the new beta that's out. People are using the beta that's going to come in the fall. So they discovered that as they were typing things, that TikTok was copying every couple of keystrokes. And it's not just TikTok, it was other apps too. So iOS fix that's coming is going to let you know if an app is copying stuff from your keyboard, from your clipboard as you type. So that came out today. So it's not, and there's TikTok was saying that, it was because of some SDK kit thing, but the fix, they're going to have a fix in the app. So just keep an eye out if you're looking for that. So that was a concern today, but it's not just TikTok. TikTok was one of the ones that was caught, and they made the story about it, but there were other apps. So the key to this is that the new update is going to show you when an app on your phone is copying what stuff from your keyboard. It's going to pop up and actually say, I saw the demo. The person was doing a recording and it said, it said TikTok is, something from Instagram or whatever. So that's going to be a new feature. But unfortunately, it's just for iPhone. It's not for the Android users of TikTok. So I don't know what it's going to be for that. So that was one of the things that I was like, okay, because we know TikTok is problematic, and this is one of the things that they was trying to do, and there are people that are looking at them to catch things like this. So TikTok was like, it's not our fault. This is based on the SDK kit, and we're going to fix it. So it was found in April. So they were supposed to fix it since April, TikTok. But Apple came in and was like, okay.
TikTok.
Right. So Apple came in and was like, we're putting this new feature in that's going to tell you when any app on your phone is copying your keyboard. It's just that TikTok got caught in the net because of the beta users.
And see, this was the thing that was, I had forgotten about that. It's a whole bunch of other stuff. They're going to talk to you about who's running something in all your privacy stuff.
Yes.
About everything. It'll tell you up in the bar up across the top.
Yeah, it pops up, right? It pops up. So that's a new feature. Yeah, that's a new feature for them.
Who has access to your stuff? I was
like,
hey.
So Apple is on it, but it's not rolled out yet it's just the beta. So if you have the beta, if you're, trying it out, you see it.
Right. And it will be out.
Yeah, and sometimes you don't want to be a beta user because it won't update when the real update comes out. It's something weird. Remember, Fran, we were talking about that, about being a beta user, beta testing on the iPhone, because I was doing that and I got off of it because I was like, it wasn't updating properly when I needed it to.
And because you're supposed to report in and tell them what the experience is.
Yeah. So that's what happened is people that are using the beta said, and it was TikTok. It popped up and said TikTok is recording it was like every 1 or 3 keystrokes. So that was the thing.
And that's the same thing that Snapchat was doing when you had with Bitmoji.
Right.
I was like, hold on, I don't want you all up in my, because some keyboards will ask you, we need permission to
use to every
keyboard.
So, but the key to this is, remember, with the iPhone, you copy stuff from your computer, from your iPad. So it may be something that you didn't type, but you copied from your MacBook Pro or your device or your other device, because they're all interconnected, the keyboard.
Right.
So that's an issue. So now that's what I was saying about TikTok. It's problematic, but there are people looking at things. So now the key to this is if you use TikTok, they're supposed to do an update like really soon. So make sure you do the update. And they're going to close that.
I know some people like, I don't want to update my stuff. Update phone.
And it's not just TikTok, it's other apps. So when this iOS update rolls out, it's going to be any app that is recording your keyboard or your clipboard. It's going to the phone will let you know. iOS only.
Here's the thing, whether it's iOS or Android, if they're doing safety and so they're doing security updates, please update.
Yes, please do.
Yeah.
Please do.
Do it.
Yeah.
Security updates are there for a reason. Now, the vanity ones, like, well, I can get new flashier pictures or something. Okay, if you don't want to do those, fine. But the security updates, please do them.
Okay. So now the next thing I have is Facebook has a new little warning when you share an old news article that is more than 90 days old. So there's a problem with information and news on Facebook and other apps. So people are sharing, and this happens to me all the time. I will get a share in my feed that somebody put a post about warning about this and that, and I'm like, when I investigated it, it was a story from 2017.
Right.
So if you don't do that research, you're going to take an old story and see it as recent news. So now there'll be a pop-up when you share an article or a link to a story. It's going to say this article is, and there's a little sample of it. I wanted to read it. It will pop up and say this article is over 3 months old, and there'll be a continue button or go back. So it's like a little pop-up warning before you post a link to an old news story. And I think if you continue to post it, it will let everybody know that sees it in your feed that this is an old story. So they're trying to combat this old news, people sharing things.
These conspiracy theories and things like that.
Well, just and even just old news stories. Just it will say this was written in whatever, so you know that it's not recent news. Okay. I thought that was a good deal. Also, good, right? So also with Facebook, there is a boycott of big brands with ads. Let me bring that up. So there is a boycott. They're not going to run ads. So it's a whole list of companies. I want to read it. REI, The North Face, Patagonia, Ben & Jerry's, Eddie Bauer, Magnolia Pictures, Upwork, and Arc'teryx. And the list keeps growing.
And recently Verizon.
Verizon, right. So they're not going to run any ads with Facebook or on Facebook, but Facebook doesn't.
July, right? Just
yes. But see, the thing is, Facebook doesn't really rely on ads from big corporations like that. Their thing is small businesses running ads. So that's where they get 75% of their ad revenue from. So, I mean, it's a good thing to do because it raises awareness of, okay, Facebook is doing this and we want, these big brands are standing and taking a stand. But Facebook is like, okay, well, it's not that big of a dent in our pocket because we get 75% of our ad revenue from small and medium-sized businesses.
Wow.
So,
wow.
There you have it.
Woo, thank you, TJ.
You're welcome. And now I have to go. Everybody have a great weekend.
Okay, sweetie.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, Dr. Tashi, what's up in the world of media?
All right, in the world of media, I have a couple of things for you. And on the trajectory of Black Lives Mattering and making sure that Black creators get equity when it comes to things, YouTube has created a $100 million fund for Black creators. So they're focusing really now on the way that the platform is being used, obviously. And Susan Wojcicki, I can never say her name, but she's the CEO of YouTube. And she opened a presentation because, as you know, right now what's happening is the New Fronts. And the New Fronts, as I said before, is advertising for the digital space or advertisers looking to put their ads in the digital space as opposed to linear television. So in their upfront their New Front presentation, they talked about this. So she says, at YouTube, we believe Black Lives Matter. And this year, they're doing a $100 million fund to help amplify the voices and stories of Black creators. So that's something that is coming out of the YouTube camp. Again, that's good. I think all of these efforts are good, but I'm not clapping for what you should have done in the first place. Do you know how many eyeballs that watch YouTube are Black? Millions. So, I mean, the fact that you would not amplify Black creators and there is inequity in terms of that, the fact that you're making this fund means you know that there is inequity on YouTube in terms of Black voices and Black creators. So I'm glad you're doing it, but you should have been done that. Just saying. So also on and interrupt me if you have anything you want to say about that.
Oh, no.
Also,
we're good. Keep moving.
Okay. Also on the trajectory of the digital space. Okay. Also the trajectory of the digital space. Netflix's Big Mouth and Apple TV's Central Park is recasting biracial characters. So Jenny Slate plays a character on Big Mouth and Kristen Bell plays a character on Central Park. And they're no longer voicing the animated characters who are people of color. Now, those two actresses are white, and they were the voice, because these are animated shows, they were the voice characters or the voices of these characters who were biracial on the show. And so for some people, they may be like, oh, well, that's not, it's not a big deal. But they made statements to show that it was a big deal, saying that, it's occurred to them, both of them, in some no uncertain terms have said it's occurred to them how much their privilege has given them in terms of that, even down to the fact of voicing characters of color. So they both stepped down from them and they said, we're relinquishing these so that somebody who is of color, somebody who's biracial or a person of color can voice these characters with more accuracy. And I think that's right. How often does that happen? I mean, I love The Simpsons, but you only have to look at The Simpsons to look at how many, the few characters of color that they have that are voiced by actors who are not people of color, or I think the term now is BIPOC. So that's something that is happening as well in the digital space. Let's take a look at HBO. HBO Max, as you know, is the new over-the-top service for the latest over-the-top service for HBO. They've already have HBO Now and HBO Go. They have signed the Wayans for 2 new specials. So if you know the Wayans of In Living Color fame and a whole bunch of other stuff, yeah, they have signed them for 2 new specials, which is actually very cool. So my stuff is all frozen. Can you guys see me?
Yep. Yeah, we can see you.
Okay. All right. For some reason, stuff froze up. So that's what's happening. And then two last things. Disney, they're having trouble getting people to accept this stream or selling their streaming bundle of Disney Plus, ESPN Plus, and Hulu. It's not as popular as they thought it was going to be.
No
well, thank you very much. I mean, you're selling a shell, and you want me to buy this shell. That's like when you're trying to eat fried fish, and all you have is the outside, and there's no fish inside. You need a shell, okay? You need content. You need the fish. So when they first announced that they were going to bundle Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN Plus, 30% of consumers said that they were interested in subscribing, according to a survey from Civic Science, and this is reported in USA Today. But 6 months after launching, only 7% of consumers actually followed through and subscribe. Okay, churn, as this is getting old, everybody signs up at first, but we start to see after the free trials and such how many people actually sign up for the things. So this is something that they're dealing with now. And then finally, this is really interesting. Netflix has ordered a Dutch series. They've been doing a lot of ordering of foreign series. So they've ordered a Dutch series called Dirty Lines about an adult phone lines firm. So like with adult content. Yes. So it's ordered a Dutch series called Dirty Lines, as I said, and it's about the rise of erotic phone lines in the late 80s. So this is actually like a period piece that we're going to be watching. So the series tells the story of a young businessman called Frank Steigter, I believe is how you say it. And after several unsuccessful attempts to start his own business, he sees a chance when the phone company introduces premium rate numbers, and with the help of his brother and sister and some dubious investors, they start the first telecom sex company in Europe.
Why is that a good thing?
Well, it may not be a good thing, but they're betting that somebody wants to see the series.
The erotica.
Well, I mean, Netflix is betting that somebody really is going to be really interested in this, and I don't know if I'd go that far. They might be making that, I don't know, that same that Disney just did.
Yes. So here's how I see it: the sex industry is huge. Whether we want to believe it or like it or don't care, the sex industry is huge. And in a normal way, Netflix could not get away with entering the sex industry. But by telling this story, they get
to do porn. I mean, come on.
And I don't know if that, and see that they're taking a gamble that may not pay off for them
because families may unsubscribe.
That or you know what? They just don't have to watch it. There are controls on Netflix in terms of who's
I don't want to go through all of that. I can just turn you off, like I did.
That's true, but for some people that might be cutting off their nose to spite their face. They may really love the other content on Netflix and just not that. I mean, just like there's some other shows that I'm like, why the hell would I watch this? I just don't watch. So, you have the right to vote with your choice. Right. Or, like you said, you could just shut it off if it's really that offensive to you.
Right. So
you just need to leave and go to Mars because everything is offensive. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, Mars. Yeah, they can have it on Mars. Gabriella has a question here. Go ahead, Dr. Tachi. I want to make sure that you have your full.
Yeah, no, that's it. I just wanted to give you those snippets of stories of what's happening in the world of media.
Gabriella said we may have already mentioned this, but what do we think about the growing list of major companies boycotting Facebook? Didn't we just they won't do ads with them?
Correct. For July and maybe the foreseeable future.
Okay, notice they just did it we're just gonna put you on a timeout. Okay.
I don't know how effective that's going to be. And like Terry was saying, what is it? 75% of the business that they get from ads is from small businesses, not from major firms like these. So I think it's a statement, and I think it's a good statement to make, to say that. I don't know how much good it's going to do in the long run. And again, this has been going on for a while. It's not just since the death of George Floyd. Therefore, I am not clapping for you once again for doing what the hell you should have done in the first place. If you are social justice minded and all of your patrons, clients, customers matter to you, you should be looking at the things that matter to them. I step off my soapbox.
Well, Apple is investing $100 million in what, a creators camp for developers.
Developers, because the
developers, yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna go down the road. Okay, so a lot of people are investing $100 million to do that and put aside monies and stuff like that. Shouldn't the people show up to do it? Shouldn't they been wanting? How many people have actually wanted to be a developer? I'm not saying they haven't, but
how many?
You know what? I think there have been a lot of companies and programs led by people of color that are looking to put equity in Silicon Valley and in the tech industry because it's not there. Part of the reason is we don't have access to the networks that the people who are in now, we just don't have that access. Two, I do agree, sometimes you have to look for these things, but sometimes you don't know where to start. And a lot of the people that are there have had a leg up. They have mentors, they have people putting opportunities in their labs, they've had camps, things that we never had access to.
Afford to live in Silicon Valley,
so
exactly. They can afford to go across the street to the Apple place to have camp.
Exactly.
During the 90s, you know what I'm saying?
And so there are the people who are there now that all of these doors are opening up. It's on the people to now start walking in the doors.
Correct. And then, you know what? Again, we're asking people to change behaviors that they've had for a very long time in terms of not knowing. So I think we have a greater job, those of us who do know, in terms of creating a pipeline for young people or whoever to get into these programs and then eventually into positions in the tech industry, if not starting your own. I think that's really going to be where the equalizer is, because honestly, again, I'm not clapping for you. You're putting $100 million, all you companies, but because somebody or somebodies have died. Where were you before? We've been saying there's a lack of equity in Silicon Valley, a lack of equity in tech, in media for donkey's years. Yet you only pay attention because somebody died. So I'm not going to give you, I'm glad you're doing something finally, but people have to die for that to happen. You really need to see, again, what is important.
I think the other thing is that there has to be some kind of outreach, Francine, to let people know that the doors are open. This is what we're looking for, and you're welcome here.
Right. And I'm saying, okay, so now that, okay, you can't have the money just sitting over there. What's the
process going to be?
Yeah. How do we, the people, here's the funds, here's this, how do we join them together to make this work?
That's a whole other piece of it. I think also when you are, and I'm just going to say this, there need to be younger minds involved in all of this, in addition to the people that are the spearhead. So, for example, you have somebody, I'm going to take like some of the civil rights organizations. You have people that have been in charge for donkey's years, and they will not retire. They refuse to relinquish relinquish power to young people. They don't want to hear what you have to say if you are under the age of 65. So.
And they don't know. They don't use technology.
They don't use technology. They don't get it.
They have no idea what the language is. They're going in there negotiating what?
And they're not going to suggest it to the younger people. They're not going to. What are we?
Pass the mantle.
They are. We don't need them newfangled things. This.
Yes.
No.
We're very hierarchical. as a community, as let me just talk about the Black community, because that's what I know. We tend to be very hierarchical. We tend to revere elders, and as such, we listen to everything that elders say, and we don't relinquish or listen to what young people have to say because we don't think it's of value. And that's just the way, and it's not just African American, that's also the way it happens in Africa, etc. So that's just culturally the way it has happened. We're going to have to get over some of these cultural things,
right?
Or if we're going to succeed in that space, because, you know, the thing is, like you said, they're not going to tell the people, they're not interested in telling the people to do that. But for the money to be used effectively, you need to bring in these voices that actually know. And this has been a problem.
Language. Yes.
Understand the language. And I don't want to say it's just a problem in our community. I think it's every community. But right now I'm talking about us. So we have to make sure that younger people are involved, millennials, Gen Z, Gen Alpha, that everybody is involved in this whole conversation so we can see how it's going to be used. After a while, you're not going to be in charge anymore because, you know, sorry, everybody passes away. So you're not going to be there. So I think we need to, we love Tidal. That's another thing, not to put out, you know, dirty laundry, but we also really love Tidal. And I know where that comes from. It's from, you know, it's hierarchical, it's cultural, but it's also from not having a place in society for so long. And so when you have organizations that are geared towards you and you have an opportunity to have some kind of power, you take it. So there's that thing as well, you know. So we have a lot to get over for this to be effective. But I'm confident we can do it. We don't have a choice.
And again, it's going to come down to individuals like ourselves with BizChicks, and we know young people that can benefit, and then they have the aptitude for doing stuff in tech. Because when we did take some kids over to Apple and they were working with the robots and doing different stuff. Okay, how do I do that on the next level? How do I, me personally, taking the responsibility, get some kids together, let's get online, because we can't take a bus to Cupertino, and help them, introducing them into that world.
Right. Well, I mean, I think there are all sorts of, I've actually connected with quite a few people that are like tech and science. In the science realm, there is a guy in Atlanta who I interviewed and have actually met in person when I'm up in Atlanta. Has an outfit called Fun Weird Science. And it's a teacher that formerly worked in the Atlanta public school system who now does Fun Weird Science full time. And it's about teaching kids to love STEM and all of the, and technology is part of that. So right. I think there are all sorts, and there's another one that I came across as well, where they do have all these experiments and things like that. So it's about teaching kids that things like coding and science, that it's actually fun and that you can do this, and seeing examples of people who look like them doing this. Representation is everything. Right. Lydia said that it doesn't matter. It does matter. The fact that you're taught by somebody who looks like you and they're doing it says to you, oh, I can actually do it. It does matter. So I think that's where we start.
Right. And getting and helping them see themselves coding.
Yeah.
I mean, because
guys, you know, we're going on 2 hours here.
Yeah. Because
time.
It is
the class
merits it. I understand. But so I want you to know, I know some of our audience has to go. We love you guys.
It's that time when we went into Apple and I took the little class on coding, and we programmed how to make this little thing move. And I was like, oh, this is pretty good. Now, if this was my thing and I didn't have anything else to do in life, I could see learning this.
Absolutely.
But so we need to get other people we know in position to take it on, and they're willing to fund it. So let's get them over there.
And one of the young ladies we took graduated this year from high school.
Oh,
outstanding GPA, and has been awarded a number of scholarships. So, Fran, I want you to know she's doing well.
Fantastic.
And so all we need to do now is, if that's their bend in life to figuring out how things work, the kid that took apart the clocks and all this stuff at your house, they need to be the ones that you need to get them over there.
Oh, and really quickly, there are all sorts of organizations that you can volunteer with that do those things. I know, Terralina, I'm not sure what program the Zetas have in terms of that, but I know you do have something.
Yes, we have programs, definitely, and definitely STEM support. Yeah,
right.
And I know for us, for the Deltas, we have the Dr. Betty Shabazz Delta Academy, and that is aimed at getting middle school girls interested in STEM. So there are organizations. You don't have to start something yourself. You can come and volunteer with us or the Zetas or anybody at any time. We will welcome it. We need more people to volunteer. So you can come and volunteer with any of these places and, do your part in that way.
This has been absolutely another great conversation. We are going to
Mark's last comment because
I saw it. He was talking about Netflix.
Yes, I know. I just want to know. Okay, I hear you, Mark.
There's parental controls. Yes. So we want to say thank you for tuning in. We'll be back next Friday talking more tech and things everything is surrounded tech here. And we have to have the tough conversations too about life in tech life. That's why we talk about it. So we will be back next Monday. We'll be back talking on Coffee Tea and Conversations.
Thoughts and Conversations.
Yes.
Thank you, Dr. Tachi.
Thank you.
We appreciate you.
For Media Scope. On Facebook.
And we're going to give a shout out to TJ. We're going to thank her for joining us today.
She'll be online. TJ online everywhere, and she has a show on social media, Digital Marketing Tuesdays at 8 a.m. So enjoy the rest of your weekend. It's great. Stay safe. And we will see you next week.
Love you guys. Don't forget to go to the front of your own line. We'll see you later.